Thank you. Over a quarter century ago, my father stood before you to accept the nomination for the presidency of the United States. So many of you came into public service because of him. In a very real sense, because of you, he is with us still. Certainly it helps and it draws attention, and what any new launch needs is that. But ultimately this magazine is going to stand or fall on whether or not it's a good magazine.
Oh, man. All right. Gotta do something. Hey, V. Sorry I missed your call there. I was out. I don't get much cell coverage in some of these areas here, and I'm out trying to get some fences mended before we close up for the winter here. So, listen, I'll get back to you later, but I listened to those videos that you sent me, those audios or whatever, the YouTube stuff, and you just cannot get sidetracked. Those are bought and paid for people. Those groups are bought and paid for, and American people are waking up. It's just like barbecue guy.
So good evening. Can you hear me in the back? Excellent. So first and foremost, thank you very much for taking time from your busy lives to spend an evening talking about some of the aspects of national security. And you know, the first observation I want to make is look at the microcosm of this audience. You are government individuals. You are members of the ADF. You are contractors who work for the corporate sector. You are media. You are academics. You are think tanks. The reason I highlight that is one of the things I always try to tell, and I said this when I was in government to our leadership, but as I've said it in my new life on the outside, as it were, there is no one group, there is no one technical solution to the problem sets we are dealing with. This is about how do we harness the power of a team to come together to address some really tough issues. And they're tough because there is both a technical aspect to it, but I would also argue even more challenging than the technical side of cyber and national security in the 21st century is the human capital piece. And then how do we overlay this in a democratic society in which the rights of the individual and the freedoms that we all enjoy and so many of our citizens have worked so hard to ensure we continue to benefit from remain unchecked. That is not an easy equation. The way I always phrased it, and this was true when I was much more junior, I can remember at one time I was a captain, a colonel in the other services. I was a naval officer. And I was hired by the then chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff to be he told me, I want you to be my strategic thinker, and I'd never worked for him before. And I can remember in the aftermath of 9/11, as we were thinking what ultimately became Iraq and Afghanistan, I said to him one day, sir, I'd only give you one thought, and that is, if in the name of security we become something we are not, and we forget our values and what it is that made us, then the other guy has won.
So, if you listen and compare the voices between John F. Kennedy Jr. and Juan O Savin, and then you take a look at Juan O Savin and compare it to Admiral Mike Rogers, you're going to find out pretty quickly that one is a match and the other one isn't. Now, some interesting things about Admiral Rogers. We know that he's the one that continued from with the NSA from under the Obama administration all the way through to 2019 under Trump before he retired. Why is that? Well, he was the one that broke ranks and walked right into Trump Tower without consulting his superiors to inform Donald Trump that his campaign was being spied on illegally. The next day, Trump moved his campaign headquarters in transition headquarters from Trump Tower to a different location. All as a result of Admiral Mike Rogers informing President Trump that he was being spied on. If you listen to Admiral Rogers in the various videos you can find of him out there, his theme about honoring the sovereignty of your citizens' rights is a theme he runs all the way through his speeches and his interviews and his talks. So there's not a lot of difference between his themes and Juan O Savin. 17th director of the NSA. 17 is also the letter Q in the alphabet. So start piecing it together. I thought it was interesting. Thought I would put this all together for you. Let you hear the voices. Let you see the pictures. Juan O Savin says that JFK Jr. is still alive. But he's in hiding. And whether he'll come out or not, who knows? There's a lot of interesting things about that. But he's not Juan O Savin. And even Juan O Savin has said that he isn't JFK Jr. Anyway, just thought I'd put this together for you. Take a look. See what you think. Take a look and look up Admiral Rogers. Look up his history. The fact that we know about his career from 1980 to the end of the 80s and then from 2000 on. But the 90s are not mentioned, not in his Wikipedia. So just take a look. Take a look at the first Juan O Savin interview from 2013 talking about some of the stuff he did in the 90s. And you'll find it to be pretty interesting. All right. Hope you enjoy it. Let me know what you think.